in terms of doing the checks on the rail and so on. Well, definitely in terms of doing the checks that are rendered after revenue hours, they will certainly continue to do so, because we want to make sure that we carry on the visual inspections, the focus on the areas where we are paying particular attention to. So they will have to do that.
Sorry, will LTA continue helping out?
LTA will continue to be involved in this together with SMRT. Yes. I think the period for collecting information is not yet over. We have had some useful information as a result of this exercise that we did last night, but we will have to continue to look at it, measure the vibrations, do visual inspections of the claws and of the covers as well, and to check the trains.
How much assurance can be given to commuters that disruption will not be occurred again?
I think what we will do is actually to make sure that we put in every effort possible to do the checks, both on the trains as well as on the rail. We will put in place measures like, for example, instruments as well as the reduction in speed to give us a higher degree of assurance. Okay?
Since the last
Maybe.
what are the short and long-term measures that LTA have in place to ensure there's such?
I think the short-term measures we have really talked about. Yes. Okay. The long-term measures, I think we will have to actually do a more detailed analysis of this. You see, we don't want also to have a tunnel vision and believe that this is the only cause. All right? This may be the cause of it, and we will certainly have to inspect this further and try and see if there's more data or more detailed analysis that we should do. But we must not also be blind to other possible causes. So that's one thing. The second thing is that I think it is worthwhile for us to go and drill into the floating slab tracks and to pull out samples from different locations to check on the condition of the bearings and dampener. This is no straightforward effort, so it needs to be planned for, and the possibility is that we may well have to take more than the 3 to 4 hours that we normally have for track site work after the close of revenue service for one night and the start of revenue service the next morning. Because you know that we finish off at about 1 and we start again at about 5+, and in between you only have 3 hours. And this, going down into the FST and taking samples out, is actually quite a huge effort that needs to be properly planned and conducted. So that is certainly one of the things that that all of us would want to do to get a better idea of the condition of the bearings and the dampeners.
Is the system now unstable, and is it reasonable to assume that there will be more disruptions this week?
I wouldn't want to speculate on that. I think as a result of what was done last night, we have some very useful information. It has allowed us to look more deeply into certain areas in a particular direction. It has allowed us also to actually think through what are some of the precautionary measures that we want to put in place, as well as instruments that will provide us more data so that we can calibrate our measurements, the measures that we want to take as appropriately as possible.
50 years is the design life of the bearings. Yeah, we talked about that, yes.
And the last check was 10 years ago.
Yes.
Was that the recommended time frame that check every 10 years?
No, actually, that inspection came about, I think, it was...
There was actually no recommended time check. But after 15 years, I think it was appropriate, also because of a number of other things that SMRT were doing, to take out a sample to see the condition of it. It's been 10 years since, all right, and now we are at about the half-life of the 50 years. And as a result of this, I think it is worthwhile for us to then plan not only to take from one place, but over a number of different places, so that we can have more samples to understand the condition and whether there is anything further that we need to do on this.
I'd like to ask about the public inquiry. Can you give us an idea of the scope of it? Like, how will it be like? Will it be just like an looks like how the crisis management was done by SMRT and stuff like that.
Well, we will draw up the terms of reference for this, but I think that it ought to be a comprehensive review. It ought to cover a number of different areas that are both technical and non-technical in nature. Okay, but we will be coming out with the terms of reference and the composition of the team shortly. Yes, please.
Yes, I think certainly in terms of, we have discussed SMRT, I think they are aware of where the critical locations are. And I mean, they on their own accord, they have actually been deploying extra manpower. So we just, for us to just ask them to continually, to continue that process. And I think in terms of inspection, we want them to pay more attention also on the track in these areas in the evenings, I mean, after the revenue hours.
No.
I think, as I've shown the data, we actually combed through the whole system, and in terms of the track, those were the areas that we found. Okay, there are some isolated ones elsewhere. It could be that things are already happening, and as a result, it actually. But it's not
because the trains, as you can see, some of them may well have affected collector shoes, and in their journey could have affected other portions.
Yes.
Okay, so LTA and SMRT staff actually went through. We will continue to go and inspect the tracks visually after revenue hours. But what they have found is that the dislodge clause, the covers, and all that are largely concentrated around certain areas, and particularly this area to do with the FST. Okay, all right. So it's not like nothing else has happened anywhere, but they are very, very small in numbers. Okay, maybe perhaps the last question. I'm sorry, but I have to run because I've got a citizenship ceremony that I need to go to, and I can't keep people waiting as well. Sorry. And then after that, you can continue to take some pictures and ask some more technical questions. Maybe we allow the lady to ask one last one, shall we? Okay. I'm not so sure that the frequency of running the trains would have caused this. Okay, because at the end of the day, we have been running trains for about 25 years already, and yes, over the years we have stepped up the frequency of the trains. We have run the trains for longer. Well, it's given us fewer and shorter hours to do some of the inspections and maintenance that we need to do. That's a relevant point. But nonetheless, I do not think that is a contributory factor. We are also, besides focusing on the FST, also making sure that we concentrate on the vibration. All right? Because it would appear that, in order to dislodge the shoes, it must be, a certain degree of vibration, or else there are other obstacles or issues. So we are concentrating on those areas. We will continue to run the trains as the fleet allows us to. We believe that the reduced speeds over the more sensitive areas will give us a higher degree of assurance. Okay? Okay. All right. So for those of you who may want a little bit more technical clarification, because I took some time this afternoon to fully follow what it is that they were doing, please continue to engage the LTA staff. I have to run off. Okay. Thank you, and thank you again for coming down this afternoon.
Okay.